Hello, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me today for this very special story time. My name is Kathleen, and today I'll be sharing a story with you from this book, Frog and Toad Are Friends by Arnold Lobel. The story is A Lost Button, but I'm going to go ahead and put the book away because today I'm going to tell you the story from my memory. A Lost Button. Toad and Frog went for a long walk. They walked across a large meadow. They walked into the woods. They walked along the river. At last, they went back home to Toad's house. "Oh, drat," said Toad. "Not only do my feet hurt, but I have lost one of the buttons on my jacket." "Don't worry," said Frog. "We will go back to all of the places where we walked. We will soon find your lost button." So Frog and Toad went back to the meadow. They looked for the button in the tall grasses. "Here is your button," said Frog. "That is not my button," said Toad. "That button is black. My button was white." So Toad took the black button and he put it into his pocket. Just then, a little sparrow hopped by. "Excuse me," she said. "Are you looking for a button? Because I have just found one." "That is not my button," said Toad. "That button has 2 holes. My button has 4 holes." So Toad took the button with 2 holes and he put it into his pocket. The sparrow hopped away. Frog and Toad went into the woods. They looked for the button on the dark path. "Here is your button," said Frog for the 2nd time. "That is not my button," cried Toad. "That button is small. My button was big." Toad took the small button and put it into his pocket. Just then, a raccoon peeked his head out from behind a tree. "I heard you were looking for a lost button," he said. "I have just found one." "That is not my button," wailed Toad. "That button is square. My button is round." He took the square button and he put it into his pocket, and the raccoon ran away. Frog and Toad went to the river. They looked for the button in the mud. "Here is your button," Frog said for the 3rd time. "That is not my button," shouted Toad. "That button is thin. My button is thick." Toad took the thin button and he put it into his pocket. But he was very angry. "The whole world is covered in buttons," he shouted, "but not one of them is mine." ran home and he slammed the door shut. He looked down at the ground, and what did he see? His white, four-holed, big, round, thick button. Oh no, it has been here the whole time. What trouble I have made for my friend Frog. Toad took all of the buttons out of his pocket, and he took his box of sewing supplies off of his shelf, and he sewed all of the buttons right onto his jacket. The next day, he gave the jacket to his friend Frog, and Frog thought it was beautiful. He jumped for joy, and none of the buttons fell off because Toad had sewn them on very well. Well, I hope you have enjoyed the story of a lost button. Thank you for joining me today.